Hello and welcome back to our second episode of the BinkCast podcast. My name is Ben, and I'm joined once again by David. How you doing, David?
Doing good. Ready to record.
Awesome. We've got a great episode for you today. We'll start off by recapping some news, some recent sports news around the leagues. Then we'll be going into a fun game. David, I believe you have another game prepared for me here.
Yep, I got a nice little quiz for Ben based on, we'll see if he's able to relate the NHL sports team to their active captain, and we'll see how well he does on that. Hopefully a little better than last week.
We're going for more than 3 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll transition into more of a chatting about how the Leafs have been doing recently and what they need to do to make a good playoff run, and how they've been playing recently. But first off, I just want to say I have a little bit of a cold, so that's why my voice may sound a little weird, so I'd like to apologize for that. But other than that, let's just jump right into some sports news.
All right, so starting off, within the last week, we've noticed that LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers have been mathematically eliminated from entering the postseason. This year, this is the first time since, what was it, 2005, 2006?
2005 was the last time that LeBron missed the playoffs.
So, some notice things that I've seen. The last time LeBron James was not in the playoffs, his current coach, Luke Walton, was actually in his second year in the NBA. He was in his sophomore season. And 95% of the current NBA players that are on active rosters weren't in the league, along with Apple's iPhone not existing and Netflix's job being only about delivering DVDs, not even online streaming at this point.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think how much has changed. The Seattle Supersonics were actually still a team.
Really?
Back when LeBron didn't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Drake wasn't Drake.
Oh, yeah?
He was still like Aubrey, and he was playing his character on Degrassi. So he was still young and acting on the TV show Degrassi. So it wasn't actually Drake. And the number one hit song was Candy Shop by 50 Cent.
Oh my god. So yeah, definitely things have changed within the last, what is that now? Above about 15 years?
Yeah.
We can say it around into. So just the consistency of his play there has just been unreal, really, in the last little bit. So what would you say this means for them going forward as with the Lakers?
Well, I think they need to realize that it's not as big a deal as people are making it. Mm-hmm. I think LeBron, first of all, his name carries a lot of weight, right? I think almost by association, people assume championship team or best team ever. But I think they need to take a step back and realize that he didn't come to the Lakers right away to win. Mm-hmm. Right? He didn't come to go and make a huge playoff run. He signed a 6-year contract, I believe.
I think it was 4 years.
4 years, okay. So he signed a 4 years. So clearly he's in it for, he understands that they will win at some point, but not right away. Mm-hmm. I think they first thing first, take a step back and not let all of this publicity affect their mood, affect how they see the rest of the season, and just play their game and work on just meshing as a team. That's what I would say.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Kobe Bryant actually came out with a quote where he said, it's seasons like this, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's seasons like this when you're not making the playoffs that makes the championships that much more rewarding, which I couldn't agree on more. And going back to LeBron and the idea of winning is, I don't think he went to the Lakers because he wanted to win. If he wanted to win, right away he would have gone to teams like the Rockets, like the 76ers, these other win-now teams. But I think definitely he's focusing on his post-basketball career, film and production stuff. He's actually becoming the executive producer on a TV show called The $1 Million Mile. Here, the style of that TV show is a sort of American Ninja Warrior sort of thing, but it's in an extreme sense to where it goes a mile long, and whoever's actually able to complete the course wins $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like something that's extreme, but again, LeBron's not entirely focused on winning. That's not his most important quality in his life right now. He's thinking about for his kids, and he's thinking about for his post-career.
Yeah, I think he's recording Space Jam 2.
Yeah,
right? Another reason to be in LA, like you said, the whole film career, but I think people are really blowing it out of proportion, making it seem like LeBron is old, right? I mean, he is. So he's an old guy. He's getting to the end of his peak, but I think he's still arguably one of the best player in the world, right? His IQ is fantastic, really good player, but people are really blowing it out of proportion, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely, his points per game is around 28, I think, and rebounds and assists are both at 8. So that's definitely some positive stats. They're definitely very good. But again, he missed a lot of games with injuries this year, right? I think for any normal person in the NBA, I think he had a groin injury.
Yeah.
He was out. A normal person could have been out for a week or two, but I think he was gone for about 20 games.
Yeah. And then recently, I don't know if you noticed, but his physiotherapist came out publicly and said LeBron came back too early. He should have been out for 6 months. Now, that was an Instagram post that was deleted after making it, so we're not quite sure the validity of it. Because 6 months for like a small groin injury, that seems a little excessive. But he did make it, like the therapist made a sort of a statement of LeBron came back too early. But I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Yeah, I saw that exact same post as well. So it's definitely interesting to see what they're going to do, any moves they're going to make going into the offseason, hopefully be able to succeed again in the next year. But I really think that's pretty much sums up how we feel about the Lakers missing the playoffs. And the next news that we got actually happened today, we'll say, is Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement from the NFL, which is something that I definitely thought was an interesting choice. Gronk, I mean, I'm a Patriots fan, so I've been sort of focused on him a little bit. Hate me as you will, but
catch some flack for that.
Yeah, I can live with that. We've been doing it for a while. He's been really smart as a player because he's retiring at age 30, which is something that not many people do, right? Tom Brady's turning 40 coming soon, but his thing is he could have played more seasons, but he's been battling injuries his whole career. In his senior year, when he was at college, didn't really play at all because of a back injury that he had. So the Patriots were able to scoop him up a little later, luckily, but his whole career he's been battling injuries. I think I was listening to Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless talk about it, and Gronk's playing as if his physical age is closer to Tom Brady because of all the injuries that he's been going through. So I think it's really smart on him to sort of step away while he can so that he's able to live the rest of his life with a healthy body.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point. I wasn't sure how he's turning 30. Do you say?
Yeah, I think he's 29, turning 30.
Yeah, because I was surprised. He didn't seem too much of an older guy, but when you watch him play, it does seem like physically he's getting up there, like you said, because of injuries. So I think it's a smart play, right? It's sort of he's not in it for the money. He's thinking, as a smart, healthy, keep myself in physical shape guy. So I mean, he'll be missed, right? He was arguably one of the best tight ends.
Oh, for sure. I could definitely see the people making the point that he is the best tight end, or definitely the most dominant tight end in his era. But I like what you're saying. The idea about money for him isn't a big deal because there was a time right at the beginning of his career where everything he earned salary-wise he put into the bank, and the only money that he was able to spend on things was bonuses and endorsements that he was able to make. And he was very wise with money. He was giving advice to younger guys to not spend a lot of it. His big thing was just be smart with it, and that's something I really admire about him. You see him and you see his lifestyle, and it's not really a lot of smart money management, but that's under the pages of everything. That's definitely the way he's been living his life, which is great.
That's super cool. I think there's something like 70%, 70 maybe 80% of professional athletes like blow all their money like within a few years.
Like 4 or 5 years of their retirement.
Within 4 or 5 years, which is ridiculous because they make so much money, right? That's their lifestyle. But when you see players like Gronk and you see like Shaq, right? Like Shaq has done great things with the money, right? He goes to younger players and sort of will talk to them about how to be smart with what you're making. So that's really cool. I didn't know that, but it's really cool to see that Gronk's being smart with his money and way back when too.
Yeah, for sure. I'd definitely say, to close this segment off, I would say it's good of him to retire at the top of his game. These last year or two, he's been injury-riddled and he's been slowing down, but he was definitely the most dominant tight end that we've seen in a while. So it was really smart of him, I like to think, that for him to get out while he can, to enjoy the rest of his life without a lot of brain damage, without any bodily harm that's really stopping him from living his normal life as he would be. So, Gronk, I doubt you're listening, but but you know, good on you for getting out while you can. I definitely encourage and applaud that effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's LeBron, Gronk, and then in hockey, NHL, Dallas is going to be hosting the Winter Classic.
Yeah, so in 2020, Dallas is going to be facing off against Nashville. I think that was the finalized agreement of the teams that are going to play. So I definitely have some interesting thoughts about this because when you think hockey, you don't really think Nashville, right? I was doing some research, and on January the 1st, 2019, so this year, I believe they were at around 5 degrees Celsius when they were playing.
That's warm.
So it is warm, but I was able to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. My first thought was, like, how can you have an outdoor hockey game in a place like Texas where it's so warm? But apparently in 2016, in the stadium series between the Avalanche and the Red Wings, it was in Denver, it was about 18 degrees Celsius.
In Denver?
In Denver.
Colorado.
Yeah, so it was warm. So I'm like, I guess it's playable. It's definitely playable because I was thinking about it, and I bet they would be able to have some form of cooler underneath the ice to keep it cold.
Definitely.
Something like that. But it's definitely interesting how they chose Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. I mean, 18 degrees. That's warm.
Yeah.
Right? That's warm weather.
That's like shorts and a t-shirt weather.
That is beautiful. I would love some 18
Yeah.
degree weather right now. But I mean, what's the temperature inside an NHL arena?
I think usually it's around -4 degrees.
In an arena.
In the that's to freeze the
That's
ice.
to freeze
Maybe
the
a little
ice.
bit warmer in the arena.
Okay. Because
Around
like
there.
18 degrees, even if you're playing in that, that's hot.
Yeah.
You're gonna get warm. You're warm playing in that. So.
Yeah.
And that was in Colorado, you said?
Yeah.
Denver, Colorado. Wow. Yeah, Dallas. I mean, what prompted their decision to choose Dallas?
Yeah, I think Gary Bettman was really interested in the idea of expanding their market to not typical hockey towns. When you think of places that have had the Winter Classic and places that are hockey towns, right? You get Boston, you get Detroit, these more northern states, these teams. So I definitely think it was good of the NHL and the NHLPA to try to figure something to have places like Dallas, places like Nashville, who aren't necessarily hockey towns, to try to keep them included and make everything more broad. So we're trying to have as many people as possible being involved in a great event. I was actually at the Winter Classic with my dad when it was in Detroit, and it's a great experience to be there because you have so many passionate people, and the tailgates are great. So many people just loving what they're doing. So I'm excited to see Dallas Nashville group, because I'm definitely thinking that they will be able to really get into hockey a little bit more down there, try to make it more of an event.
Absolutely. I think it's really cool. And, I'm very excited to see where future Winter Classics will be. If Texas is where they're willing to go, it doesn't seem like there's anywhere that they aren't willing to go. And I think a Winter Classic is a really great way to introduce people more into the idea of hockey.
Yeah,
like you said, it's been traditionally more of a northern states in Canada, as hockey mecca, right? New York. But when you go to the more southern, the warmer states where hockey is, I'd say, arguably getting more popular. I'd say hockey's picking up, right? Like, Vegas now is a team.
Yeah. Seattle, there was a team announced there. They'll be going there in 2 years, I think.
Team. And I think it's really great. I think it really brings people into the idea of hockey and warms them up to the idea of maybe making it more of a popular sport down there. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely a huge hockey fan myself, so the idea of a lot of other people starting to like hockey is something that I'm definitely all for. And I also think that a big impact of putting it in Dallas was the idea of the Cotton Bowl Stadium.
Yeah.
So that's where they're hosting it, and that was a very, there's even a college football event now called the Cotton Bowl that I believe happens there. It might be a different place every year, but it's definitely a lot of monumental, sentimental value to the people of Dallas, to where that's probably why they're putting it there, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the, what's that big arena down in Los Angeles?
The Staples Center?
The Staples Center. That's where there's the Forum.
Oh, okay.
I mean, is it kind of like the Forum? I mean, I know the Forum is kind of like a...
No. Yeah, I think it's supposed
city
to...
staple.
They're going to be able to try to fit around 80,000 people, and yeah, it's definitely a big, well-known thing in the Texas area. For sure. So yeah, that's definitely... I would think that's good to say that summarizes what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
The idea of LeBron missing the playoffs, Gronk retiring, and Dallas hosting the 2020 NHL Winter Classic, the Bridgestone Winter Classic, as Bettman constantly referred to it in his little speech. But so now we're moving on to the second part, to where hopefully Ben's going to do a little better this week on a quiz that I prepared for him. We'll start off pretty easy, so if you don't get more than 3, I will be severely disappointed.
Okay.
Alright, so we're going to have 10 questions. I'm going to name the team, then you're going to name the captain associated with it. Current captain associated with it. Team number 1, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Sidney Crosby is my
Correct.
final answer.
Very easy one. For starting off like that, I think definitely the first 3 or 4 will be pretty easy. Number 2, Boston Bruins.
David Krejci. No, hang on, not David Krejci.
Wow, he's blanking.
Boston Bruins.
The current longest serving captain.
Zdeno Chara.
Zdeno Chara is the correct answer.
I don't know why I said
David Krejci. I would even put Bergeron before him, but yeah, Zdeno Chara, correct. 2 for 2. Moving on to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Jonathan Toews.
Yep.
He's been captain for a while.
Yeah, he's the third longest active serving captain.
Captain serious.
Yeah, that they're going on for sure. Number 4. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers.
It's Connor McDavid.
Correct. Yeah, he was the youngest captain that was assigned to a team. So he's number 4. And then we're getting a little bit harder, I'd say, to tier 2. Who is the captain of the San Jose Sharks?
Oh.
He's thinking.
Is it Logan Couture?
Logan Couture is incorrect.
Oh.
Believe it or not. I was trying to trick you there a little bit with Joe Thornton, who's also not the captain.
No.
It's Joe Pavelski.
That's who it is. I have been fantasy. Or
exactly. You had him in fantasy.
Joe Pavelski, okay.
Yeah, so that's all good. First one wrong, but you've already got 4, so you're better than last time.
Better than last time.
So moving on to the Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg Jets. Okay, so it's not Line A.
Correct.
It might be Blake Wheeler. It could also be Mark Scheifele.
So who is it going to be?
I'll say Mark Scheifele.
The correct answer is Blake Wheeler.
Blake Wheeler.
You were close. You definitely had it. So that's 2 wrong in a row.
Dang.
Hopefully you'll be able to get this next one. Tell me the captain of the Dallas Stars.
This is Jamie Benn.
Yeah, there you go. Jamie Benn's definitely the captain. He's a nice, strong guy that you can have manning the helm of your team. They had a little bit of drama earlier on in the season with their owner, but I definitely think they've been playing better, trying to make a push for the playoffs this year. Next, on to the Buffalo Sabres. Question number 8.
I want to say Jack Eichel. Is that right?
Yep, Jack Eichel's definitely. So right now I think you're 6 for 8, which is pretty good.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. But this next one's a little hard.
Okay.
Number 9's the most difficult one I could think of. Tell me who you think the captain of the New Jersey Devils is.
New Jersey Devils.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. So I know they have Taylor Hall playing for them, but I don't know if they've made him captain yet. I think it was Ilya Kovalchuk.
Oh, years ago.
For a while.
Yeah.
He's playing on LA right now.
Yeah. I don't think he's not, Kopitar's the captain there now. But the New Jersey Devils.
New Jersey Devils captain?
Mm-hmm.
Who else do they have?
Taylor
Hall.
You will not know this person when I tell you his name. It's a little bit of a difficult one.
Oh boy. Oh, there's someone in my... I started with a P. I don't think he's the captain, but... I'll say Taylor Hall.
Yeah. It's Andy Green, believe it or not.
Would never have guessed that.
I was looking. I'm like, who even is that guy? So he's a defenseman there.
Okay, Andy
For sure.
Green.
So that's number 9. Going into number 10, can you tell me the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs?
We don't currently have a captain.
Ding, ding, ding. Ben nails the trick question.
We have 3 assistant captains.
Can you name the 3 assistant captains?
I wrote a paper about this.
Really? Wow, huge Leafs fan. Confirmed.
The 3, it wasn't like a huge paper, but I did write a paper about leadership.
Oh, that's
about
great.
The 3 assistant captains is John Tavares, Austin Matthews, and Morgan Riley.
Well, it's actually not Austin Matthews. It's Patrick Marleau.
No, hang on.
What'd you get on that paper, Ben?
I think Austin Matthews is an assistant captain.
Well, Google tells me that it's Morgan Riley, Patrick Marleau, and John Tavares, and I remember Marleau was named to it, so I hope you passed that paper. That's a little awkward.
So embarrassing.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
That's so embarrassing.
Oh, that's funny. So that's fine. You finished off 8 for 10.
It is
80%.
Totally Patrick Marleau.
That's all good.
I even wrote about how he has so much veteran experience.
That's hilarious.
That's embarrassing.
Matthews will hopefully get it one day. He's definitely a younger guy, but right now Marleau for sure.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so bad.
All right, so now I'd say you did pretty well. Definitely better than last week, but now we're on to the final bit of our podcast here today, talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs and sort of the struggles they've been going through and what they need to improve on in order to be successful in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so out of their last 7 games, Leafs have gone 2-5, so they've won 2 and they've lost 5.
Were those all in regulation they lost? Or was there any in overtime?
They lost in overtime to the New York Rangers on Saturday.
Yeah.
And other than that, I think they're all
in regulation.
They're all regulation. So I guess you'd say they went 2-4-1, you could say.
Still not a great record.
Still not a great record for a team that people are expecting to go past the first round, in the playoffs. So
Toronto fans are definitely expecting that. For sure.
Well, Toronto fans expect a whole lot out of their team.
I'm sure
right?
A lot of Toronto fans are expecting to win the cup.
3 wins into the season.
Yeah.
This is the year.
Yeah, exactly.
I am super guilty of
every year
being that guy. But they lost 6-2 to Tampa, and so Tampa Bay, a better team, we kind of expected that. 6-2 to the Senators.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
I expected to win that one.
Yeah, well, I think everyone expected to win, but especially since Ottawa's traded away both Duchesne and Stone, their main guys, so it looks like they're definitely not trying to win a bunch of games.
Karlsson.
Yeah, Karlsson at the beginning of the year, last summer. So it's rough, but I would definitely say, along with that, Toronto's biggest problem's got to be consistency.
Yeah.
Right? There's games, like we were saying, to where they're able to win some games. Like on the March 4th, they played the Calgary Flames and they beat them 6-2. But then, like you were saying, they lost to Ottawa. 6-2 as well. So if you're going to be able to succeed, you're going to need to be able to be a little bit more consistent come playoff time, to where you're just able to win and not lose. It sounds like a very easy concept, but it's harder to put in action for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. They currently have the 6th best record in the NHL. I don't know if that's changed since I looked that up. But 6th best in the NHL, which is one spot higher than they were last year.
Yeah.
They finished 7th best in the NHL. So they improved. But
there's also a big improvement that they made on their roster
as
right. well, would you say?
I would agree. John Tavares. Fantastic addition. John, if you're listening, which you're not.
That'd be nice.
Thanks for signing with us. We love you. There's no need to go and feel bad about New York.
It's fine.
We love you here. Stay forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, John Tavares, arguably one of the top 5 centers
in the
NHL.
Probably. But definitely his connection with Marner has been really great this year, so that group's been doing really well. But I think the reason why they maybe haven't improved as much as they could have, per se, is they're getting outshot constantly throughout the season. We see games, well, currently, Toronto's at a minus 16 shot differential for the season, which is not great. The only other team that's anywhere close to them is Tampa Bay, who is at minus 2. But the reason Tampa Bay is able to get away with it is because they have the highest power play in the league at 30%, highest penalty kill at 86%, highest in goals per game. So even though they aren't taking a lot of shots, they're taking really productive shots. Kucherov right now is playing great with 120 points total. Meanwhile, McDavid's only in second place at 113. But these other teams that we're trying to compete with, Boston right now is at a plus 233 shot differential. And these teams in the West, San Jose, Nashville, Calgary, they're all at like, San Jose is at plus 358. Nashville and Calgary are both like around 250 plus. So I think Toronto's definitely going to need to lower, or I guess increase their defensive play in order to have less shots taken against, because that's definitely a struggle that they're going through, I would say.
Yeah. I think the reason why those shots are coming is defense.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't think it's been a secret that for the entire season, the biggest struggle of the Leafs has been defense. Our offense, fantastic. I mean, we could score more and win more, but like you said, defense always wins games. Or what's that? What's
offense
saying?
Wins games, defense wins championships. It's a classic phrase they hear all the time, but I totally agree to it. Right now, injuries is rough because we got Gardner, Dermott, and Marincin all out. Gardner's someone you could slot into the top 4 power play. Dermott, put him on the top 6. He's getting better. Marincin, maybe have him there for a 7th guy, because right now we have Hall and Oshiganoff playing, to where ideally you wouldn't really have those guys in the lineup if you're trying to make a successful run. But again, injuries, it's rough. It can be difficult sometimes as well, but hopefully, I think they'll be back in time for playoffs, so things should be able to step up, but they definitely do have to step up their defensive play if they're going to want to succeed.
I would agree. And I certainly hope that's what Mike Babcock's working on with them. I mean, their power play, if we get back to the way it was at the beginning of the season, back in like September, October, or sorry, not September, we weren't playing in September, back in October, November, that's phenomenal. I think we had one of the best power plays in the NHL.
Yeah, for sure. I know definitely the first few games we were killing it, so back to there. And I think even too, Frederik Andersen. If you're going to want to win the Stanley Cup, you need a stud goalie. Just someone to step up in the playoffs, because when we think of Stanley Cup champions in the last few years, Braden Holtby, Marc-Andre Fleury, Matt Murray, Corey Crawford, Jonathan Quick, all these guys that are considered elite goaltenders maintained a .920 save percentage plus. So even higher than that was their save percentage in the playoffs. So I think you're going to need to be able to have a goalie that's able to win you a 1-0 game in the end. I definitely think that Anderson can be that guy, but he really needs to just make sure. Because goalie, I would say, is one of the most, if not the most important position in hockey.
Oh, definitely. If you don't have a good goalie, no matter how many goals you score, it's not going to matter. Yeah. Right? In the long run, you need someone good in net. And Frederik Andersen, I think he's definitely got the potential to be a fantastic goalkeeper. I think it's just in the past month or two, we've noticed some slip-ups. Maybe not as in form as he could be.
Yeah, right. It's just the consistency that's definitely a thing with him. Like, I think I was watching the other day, he had like 25 shots, 3 or 4 goals. So you can't really have that when you're trying to be successful in a playoff spot.
No, and I think his current save percentage is 9.18.
9.18, which isn't bad.
It's not bad at all. Don't get me wrong, but
it's definitely right close to that .92 marker that I had, but in the beginning of the year, he's been playing well. Plus, you got a great team playing in front of you. To where I would even say that I would expect him to be at the .920 save percentage or even higher if you're dealing with that. But it's just that defensive consistency is something that we just need to constantly work on. After doing some research, I learned that the Leafs are one of the least physical teams in the NHL. They're currently sitting in third last place in hits per game. So when you're facing a team like Boston, of which we're going to play in the first round, you're going to need to be able to withstand some nitty-gritty, dirty play in the corners, especially going up against Brad Marchand.
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me that the Leafs are not a physical team. When you look at their roster, the only person for me that really stands out as a physical player is Nazem Kadri.
Yeah,
right.
He's great.
Like, he's known as sort of a gritty, not fighter, but
yeah, he's definitely close to the Brad Marchand level.
Brad
we were
Marchand
mentioning
level
before. The idea of pretty decent offensively, but also a rat that you want on your team, but you hate him if he's on the other team.
Yeah. I mean, I guess now that I'm thinking of it, Jake Muzzin, big guy,
someone
big
we acquired
defenseman,
recently.
But those are, for me at least, the only really two names that pop up when I think of like Toronto's physical.
Yeah, for
guys.
sure. Like your main studs, your John Tavares can be physical. He's great in front of the net. Marner is almost the opposite. Matthews likes getting away from people. Nylander's not there too much. Kapanen maybe, but still, he's more of a fast guy, not super physical. But I like bringing up the idea of Jake Muzzin, and I just wonder how he's going to be going forward into these playoffs. Because it's someone you acquired at the deadline, you give up your first-round pick and a prospect for him, you expect someone like that to be able to really thrive and be a first-man D, would you not say?
Definitely. I think I have high hopes for him. I'm really excited that he's on our roster. And I said this last podcast, I really like Jake Muzzin. Like you said, he's a physical guy, which is what we need. And I'm hoping he brings more of that to the table. I like Jake Muzzin. I think he hasn't really been producing goals at the same level as maybe we could have expected. That's not what we got him for.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Like we have pieces on the board who are going to score.
Yeah. Right.
Like Matthews, Tavares, although you can list off the guys who can score goals for days, but when it comes to physical defensemen, Jake Muzzin I think is arguably our top pick.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. We don't really need Muzzin for his goal-scoring ability. He's a great guy to have on the penalty kill to where you can plant him in front of the net and just really have him clearing everything out. We wanted a nice defenseman that's big and strong, and I think Muzzin's definitely going to be able to be that guy for us, without a doubt, but the chemistry is the only thing that's really rough right now. Ideally, if he was a right-hand shot, that'd be perfect, playing up alongside Riley, but, it's fine getting what we can get for him, but I think that once the chemistry goes up, and once he's really able to play with these great guys in the Leafs, that's when we'll be able to really start producing with him. But it takes time. It's rough jumping right into a organization of people that are so glued together, great chemistry with that. So he needs time. But I'm not worried about rushing that anytime soon.
No, and the same with the Raptors. I'd rather lose a few games in the regular season if it pays off later on.
Yep, I agree.
Like if it means that they build that chemistry together and learn how to play, right? Don't focus as much on just winning. Mm-hmm. Focus on how the team comes together, and if that results in winning, then you've done the right thing. Mm-hmm. And if that means that we can win a game against Boston in the playoffs, I'll take that 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, for sure. I like the idea of what you're saying about making sure that people know how to play together and people like playing together, getting that chemistry together. I mean, we're guaranteed to face Boston in the first round at this point. So if that means losing a few games, but you're having more of your depth guys play and get to know each other well, or having Muzzin play with more people, so that way when the playoff time comes around, you're able to be more successful, I encourage it.
Yeah.
It's rough for your typical fan that wants to win every game no matter what. Sure, having home ice advantage would be nice, but if we're able to win in the postseason, I really think anything leading up into that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I would agree. I think for Toronto, right now, get past the first round.
Yeah.
That will be a victory for us. Mm-hmm. Right? I think it's the third or fourth time we've gone up against Boston.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. If we can get past them, that'll be a victory for me. I will be super satisfied with getting past Boston in the first round.
I'm going to say every single player or every single fan of any NHL team hates the Boston Bruins. Right? Because they're so good, they're so physical, but it's just a pain playing against them. So I definitely think if there's going to be a year of which the Leafs can start winning, it could be this year in the first round. I don't know if we're going to be able to get by Tampa Bay, but I definitely think that this is a start to something good.
I definitely agree.
It's rough going in now, but I would say definitely going into the playoffs, if we're able to improve consistency, maybe try to limit the shots with some better defense. That's definitely the most important thing on Babcock and everyone else's mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got faith in the team, faith in the process.
Yeah, well, for sure. We've been with Brandon Shanahan ever since he's come into the organization. Everyone's acknowledged that it's going to be a little bit of a slower cycle. We aren't going to win right away, but I think it's looking good. We're just going to try to do everything we can, but defensive consistency is the main thing. Offense will take care of itself with our team, but once we're able to be good on defense, I think we're going to be fine.
I definitely agree.
All right, so I think that pretty much closes it up for today. I'd like to thank everyone for listening this week. We're currently working on getting to Apple Podcasts, running into some technical difficulties with that. Hopefully that should be up and running in the next week or so. In the meantime, you can definitely check out our YouTube channel. If not, we are on SoundCloud now under the BinkCast podcast.
Nice.
So you can listen to us there. You can listen to the first and second episode. And the YouTube comments, definitely. We'd love to have you suggest any topics or game ideas that you want us to talk about on future episodes. Definitely be sure to follow us on Instagram at the BinkCast podcast. There we will be letting you know whenever we have a new episode go live. You can follow myself, David.D.Rogers, or Ben, my co-host, at Ben Dutch Austin. And we will see you guys next week.